What's going on, homie G's? Welcome back to the channel. Just finishing up a quote out here. Cool piece of land. 5 acres over by one of my favorite neighborhoods. Favorite speculation of a neighborhood right now, actually. But there's a great, I don't want to say great, but there's an airport neighborhood with a now defunct HOA. And I love the neighborhood. I love the area around the neighborhood. This one's outside of the HOA BS right now. So it's, just a private owner. They used to live in the HOA, actually. Private owner, would-be private owner. They're basically in the due diligence phase of, do we buy this 5 acres or not? So I went out there to assess it and do a consult on, this is what it's going to take to do this place. Basically, it's pretty standard. Forestry mulching, everything 6 inches and under. Down storm trees, remove that off 3 to 5 days. And then from that phase, the homeowner and their builder of choice can determine where's the driveway going, where's the house pad going, and then we'll either quote that. We probably will quote that, but that's not our specialty. Sometimes the builders have a dirt guy, and the dirt guy goes in there and starts building the house pad. If they get involved with a pond or water features, we're involved in that process big time. So if they're digging a pond and that's where the house pad's coming from, we'll be there. If not, we just get them access. So what we're selling essentially on this service is, or on this quote is, say for easy numbers, this is a $400,000 piece of land, a little bit less. I think it's listed at $350. 5 acres, so it's like 68, 69,000 an acre. I think they've offered 60 on it. In this area, if it's under 50, you gotta buy as much of it as you can afford to buy, in my opinion. So it's close to that number. The improvement cost is probably going to be 5 to 7, and that's not like fully improved. That's just like access to the 5 acres. They look good. The trees are clean. You can see the place, and you could theoretically mow it if you want to allow grass to grow and mow it. There'll still be trees. We're not doing strip and clear at that, but like you can essentially start the project. So the property owner, would-be property owner, needs to know that information. So they're not just offering, say, 300. They're aware that there's going to be, on our end, probably going to spend 20. They're spending at least 17 in forestry mulching, and then trees they're going to spend at least 11. Could spend 15. Could spend 25. Depends on what they want to do there. But they're basically improved for less than 50,000. Then from there, the dirt begins, and that's a determination as to dig the pond or don't do a pond and haul it in. In our area, there's a dirt pit. I'm literally going to be passing it during this video, so it's not far. And I just left from there, so we're talking like 6-7 miles. So it's just as cheap to truck it in as it is to dig it in. The only reason you would dig it in is if you're going to do something there where you would need the water, like you're going to do a food forest, or you're planning on having some sort of livestock, or you want it for aesthetics, or you need it, if you need it to get water off of that property. So the downside to being on a 5 acre parcel or larger by yourself is like you got to figure out where your utilities are coming in, which is pretty easy on 5 acre normally. So where's the grid relative to your property? How much of that infrastructure are you liable for, or is on your tab? Who's paying for that? Is the utility paying for that or not? The nice thing about buying something like in the neighborhood I'm passing here is I don't love this, but these are 2-3 acre, and you can pick up to 2 different, or I think 4 or 5 different builders. But you basically one developer, and you're buying a 2 or 3 acre lot. We don't get involved in those projects too much unless we get the entire project, obviously. Which up to date, I haven't had 100 acre development, really a development more than 100 acres. Buddy just did a pond that was 100 acres, which was pretty wild, actually. I wasn't part of that one, but they dug 100 acres of pond. So a lot of fill dirt, and obviously it went to improvement projects around the 100 acres. They were doing a 500 acre, 600 acre, I don't even know how large the project was, but ultimately that 100 acres of dirt went somewhere else, on the parcel. But on a 5 acre, your minimal economies of scale. You're not really getting any. You don't need any massive equipment on 5 acre stuff. It's a decent small land clearing deal. But as a landowner, you've got to figure out what the costs on that are, who's going to pay for what, and you need to know that before you buy land. And you need to know what the improved cost of the land is. So in this case, $60,000 is the market value on it. I think it's listed at $69,000. $7,000 probably my cost on the improvement, like my bill to them. And so 30, let's call it 35. So divide 35 by 5, obviously 5. So are you willing to pay $72,000, $75,000 an acre improved land? Is it worth it? Are you building equity? And during that process, or I guess during the due diligence phase, which we're doing now on the consult, can you offer below your asking, which happens a lot. We help people do this a lot. Once you have a clear picture of what it's going to cost to improve the property. For example, not all of that 5 acres is buildable. It doesn't need to be buildable, but there's areas that are lower that are like clearly you're not going to build on them. You're not going to improve them because we're probably not going to get the wetland mitigation approved. We could, but on 5 acres it's harder. It might not be worth the cost. On 1,000 acres, it's like there's wetlands where, okay, what are we doing where? Are we mitigating them, meaning like we're building there, but we're going to create new ones elsewhere? Are we going to improve them? Because like a lot of like the land I'm passing now is just filled with pepper trees. It's all invasive. Those are wet areas. It'd be better to rip all that out and like make a nice wet area, like with where sandhill cranes want to come and like nest, like a real nice one. And sometimes, depending on the area, well, the rules are different. Like especially in Florida, the rules are different. There's a state level, and that's swift mud. And that's like, you know, Southwest Florida Water Management Districts. Like those are the government employees that get involved in these projects. Then you get county guys that are involved in these projects. Then you obviously have the homeowner, you have the builder, you have all the contractors involved. When you're buying property, the first thing you should do is talk to the land clearing and survey guys. Sometimes they're the same dudes, most of the time they're not. 2 different companies. Like they need to, those are your first calls when you're doing a land development project. This is for a single boomer lady. She wants peace and tranquility and a nice little house, and she's been out there late, like, you know, she's lived out there previously. She's single. It's a nice place, but like also this is a project that she's gonna rely on her contractors 100% to do. It's not like, you know, maybe her son and her will go out there with some chainsaws at some point, but probably not. Like they don't have any tractors in the state. You know, they're actually from another state. So they need to know these in this like due diligence period. A lot of people that are first-time land buyers don't know this. This is not their first piece of land that they bought, and not the first project they've done with us. But super critical, because when you start out and you buy a piece of land, you're going to be like super optimistic about it. You're going to actually go through this bipolar process where you have uninformed optimism, you're excited about it, you're like, this could be awesome, and then you get into it, and then you have informed pessimism. If you don't know what that's about, watch Gold Rush, watch 45 minutes of Gold Rush. It'll be scripted and edited and the whole thing, but like you'll get the vibe. It's like, oh, this is cool. Oh wow, things are more difficult than we thought. And you know, thus, you know, the industry I'm in, I do the excavation part of that equation, where it's like, you know, track off the excavator. That's not your problem. Although a lot of landowners like to get involved, and they feel like, I have a buddy we sold some land to. My wife will handle the real estate transactions at our family brokerage, and then I'll do the land clearing part of it, the improvement and the tree part of it. And one of my buddies is like a homesteader, so he bought 5 acres from us a year ago or so. We did some minimal clearing for him, minimal storm clearing, and he's gonna do it himself. Like he's gonna improve the property. And when you deal with clients like that, it's my buddy, so I can really just be like, okay, it's always the highest cost way to do it. Always the highest cost, unless that's like what they do. Like they have a tractor, that's what they do. They know what they're doing. They've done it before. But it will turn into like, oh, I'll do this on weekends. And if it's more than 5 acres or more, it's like you'll never have enough weekends to do it. You've got to like commit to doing it. Like you're taking 3 months and you're gonna do this, or you just hire a land clearing outfit like us. It's a 2-week project. And it's done, and it's prepped up, and it's all ready to go. But hopefully you've done that before you've purchased the property. And if you haven't done that, then you're like, whoa, this is shocking. And then the project just it delays and it delays and it delays because it comes in at higher cost than you expect it, which is kind of typical with any project. But like on the land clearing side, I see it so often, but so often. I hope that's useful for you guys. Probably have some videos on the details of how this process will go. Like I'll probably do a follow-up secondary one on it, on the actual flow of how this works. But essentially you go in there, you clear it, you stake it, survey guys, you figure out where things are going to go, and then you assess it a la carte, waste material going off, material coming on, machine days or hours, or like what you sell like acreage wise, which we sell everything by the acre. Everything we do is productized. So it's like, this is what it's going to cost per acre to do this phase. This is what it's going to cost per acre to do the second phase. And then the third phase would be like house pad, compaction, utilities, and then we're out. And you know, hopefully you invite us over for a barbecue when your house is done. So, although we will have a secondary service, probably going back to our roots. I started in landscaping, probably going to go back to our roots this year and begin to offer full edible forests, so all food forest stuff. Very high dollar project, very niche project. We'll see if it turns into anything. So keep you guys posted on that, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.